Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to continue with the introduction to Python. So in the previous video, we basically got the overview of what is Python and what are the some applications of Python. So in this video, we are basically going to learn about some of the basic syntax of Python. So basically, let's get started with the hello world in Python. So as I said, uh, okay, before we get started with programming, I totally forgot. I'm using the spider IDE for Python, but you can use any IDE to follow along this series, as this is a very beginner level series. So basically you can use the IDE, or you can also install Spider by installing Anaconda on your PC. So Anaconda will basically give you an very good runtime environments to run your Python codes. But for a beginner, you can also use IDLE. But since I'm very comfortable in the Spider, I'm going to use Spider. Okay. So now in this video, we are going to learn how to print hello world and what are the some basic syntax in Python. So let's get started. Like before we start again, I'm really sorry. Uh, this side we have the console for the Python, right? And here is the script part of the Python or the script section. So in Python, you can also like ideally also there is something called a console, and then there's something called script part. So in this basically, if we are going to use Spider, so for me it's really easy to debug the codes since I have console side by side, right? So it uh, it basically depends on your preference. Okay. So now what we can do, if we want to, like, we can also write the Python one line commands inside the console as well. So let's say if we want to print hello world, so what we can do, we can also write the hello world here itself. So as you can see, this print is the keyword, then this is hello world. Then as you can see, we have basically inside this print is the keyword, which basically tells the interpreter that we have to print a string, and then the string or the value which we have to print, we basically pass inside the this parenthesis or bracket. And as you can see, for strings, string are basically messages, or the like basically the sentences are basically enclosed with the double quotation or the single quotation. So now let's hit enter, and as you can see, we got the output. Now what we can do, we can also enclose our messages inside the single quotation as well, right? So let me just quickly show you. But make sure that if you're enclosing, if you're like opening with the single bracket quotation, always close it with the same single quotation, else it will give you an error. Okay, so what we can do, let me try this. Okay. Okay, yeah, basically as you can see, this command, like the previously used syntax directly came up in the console. Basically you can just basically press up button, and it will basically copy whatever previously was used. Okay, so let's now do this. Now let's try to close it, right? So as you can see, now this bracket also got highlighted in the green color. Okay, right, as if it is a part of a string. So let's try to run this. See, EOL, that means end of line while scanning string literal. That means that there was no end of line encountered. Okay, so always make sure to use the same quotation. Now this was the console part. Now what you can do, this is the script part. So normally console part is used for debugging. Okay, so let's say if you have written a very big program and you want to debug it, like you are not getting the correct output. So what you can do, you can basically just print the individual value of the variables and kind of get the intuition that where your program might be going wrong. Let's say if value of b is wrong, what you like the value of b which you predicted was not coming. So what you can assume that if your program used the variables a and b for the final answer, then you can assume that okay, since a value of a you are getting correct, but in the value of b you are getting incorrect, so you can just go to the part where you have calculated the value of b. So it will basically help you instead of like checking entire code, you are just checking for the part where it is going wrong. Okay, so now the script part, you can basically, you can also write similarly. And as you can see, in script, basically this spider just has some autocomplete features, so which speeds up your development time or the programming time. So after writing the code, make sure to save it. Shortcut key for saving is Control S. Okay, now let's hit the run, and as you can see, our file was executed, and we got our answer. Okay, so now in any programming language, uh, like Python, which we are learning right now, for a syntax, there are three words in three stuff in syntaxes. Operator. So in this case, we have a keyword. So keyword is this print. What is keyword? Keyword is basically something which is already reserved by the programming language. You cannot like have a variable name using this. And then you have something variable or constant or the operators. So operators, variables, we are going to discuss about them later. Okay. So for now, let's focus on keywords. Okay, and like just get an overview of variable. So variable, if you guys have studied maths, then you know what is variable. So let's say if you want to calculate the age of ram, just like some world problem, then you basically start with the, let us assume the age of ram be x. That x is basically a variable which can take any value, right? Similarly, in programming, variable can take any value. So let's say there's a value of a is equal to 5, then you print it. So here you can, as you can see, we have print as a keyword, and this is a constant. Sorry, not constant, a variable. And here, as you can see, we have a variable, we have an operator. So this is an assignment operator. You're basically assigning a constant to this variable, right? Then in this line, you are basically using a keyword that is print. Print basically tells the interpreter that you want to you want to basically just print the value of a. So let's run it. And then, as I said, you can use the console for debugging as well. So what you can do, if I, let's say if my program is not giving me the correct output, what I can do, I can basically check each and every variable one by one. So I can just type in a, and as you can see, we got the output for a here as well. Okay, so basically your syntax is formed of three components, that is a keyword, operator, variable, and fourth one is also there, sorry, my bad, that is constants. So in this video, we are basically just going to focus on some keywords. So keyword, there are some keywords like print. Okay, then you have sum. See, then you have let's say and, not, and there are many like range, for, while, and many more. Okay, sorry, many more. So basically, what is a variable? That means that keyword is basically, these are reserved by the interpreter. You cannot use them for like naming any variable. Okay, so let's say if I want to have this print is equal to a, 5. Now let me erase these. Okay, and now I want to have this print. See, we got the error because print was a keyword. We cannot use variable name as a keyword. So now let's come back to the variable. So there are few rules you need to follow when you are naming a variable. First of all, your variable name cannot start from an integer or any special character like 5 in, let's say 6. Okay, see, we are getting an error, right? We cannot have this. Let's say if you want to have let's say percentage int, again it is giving an error because this is not allowed. Well, there's a one special character which is actually allowed, that's a underscore. Now, as you can see, we have no problem here. Let's run it. And okay, let me just delete this line because now let me just print the value. Okay, now let's focus on so now this was the, so basically what we get the gist from it is you need to if you want to have a variable, the naming should not have the name should not be a keyword. Then the variable name should start from and character, or if you want to start it with a special character, then there's only one special character allowed, that's an underscore. Then there's one more thing, that is Python is case sensitive. So let me show you what do I mean by that. Now remember when we tried to have a print as a variable, we got the error. Now let me try to have print with a capital P is equal to 6. Now let me try to print capital P print. Now since Python is case sensitive, this capital P, this basically this print with capital P is different from the this print which is starting from small p. Okay, so now let's talk about comments. So comment is, what is comment? Comment is something which you just write for your own understanding. Let's say you are writing a very big code and you want to like, if you are using a lot of functions. So when you are creating a lot of functions, then you want to document something. So to document, you can leave comment, like let's say if you want, if you are writing a function to add two numbers, then you can write a comment that this function is going to add two numbers. Now what is the use of this? Basically what will happen, that that comment will be ignored by the interpreter while it is you're executing your code. So now let's have a comment. Let's type it. This is comment. So here this line will be ignored by the interpreter, right? So let me try to run print hhh. See, it got ignored. Even though there's no variable called hhh, it should give me error, but since it's a comment, it is getting ignored. Now let's say this is just one single line comment. You want to give a multi-line comment. So for multi-line, you can basically use this. See how it is basically double quote 3 times, and then you can write your comment within this. And then if you want to end your multi-line comment, you can just put back the 3 multi-line. So let me just comment the entire code from here as well. 1, 2, 3. Now since I want to end this, 1, 2, 3. Now let me save the code and let me run it. As you can see, there is no output. Okay, so this is just a basic like syntax. So basically in Python, your syntax is comprised of 4 things, that is keyword, variable, constants, and operators. Okay, then in case of keyword, basically keywords are the reserved words which are not like which you cannot use as a variable name because it is reserved by your interpreter or the Python libraries. Then in case of variables you cannot name, there are some rules you have to follow while naming your variable. Your variable cannot be a keyword. Then your variable cannot start from an integer or any special character. The only special character allowed is the underscore. So your variable should always start with a string or a character basically. Then what we learned was basically Python is a case sensitive. So print with capital P and print with small p are different. Then we learned how to comment. So basically we can comment two ways. That is a one line comment with a hash and multi-line comment with three double quotes. Okay. So now let's learn about the indentation. So let's say if we want to have, if we like want to have some kind of a function or like a block of code, then there are something called indentation. So basically indentation is a tab space. Tab space is basically pressing your space bar 4 times. So now let's say I have a if statement. If 5 is equal to 6 or 5 is equal, or let's say 5 is greater than, okay, I totally forgot, this is not valid anymore. Python keeps on changing. So let's say let's just use the basic mathematic operator for, okay. We are going to learn about the conditional statements later on, so this is just for demonstration. So as you can see, as soon as I press enter after this colon, i got I got some indentation. So this indentation is basically 4 spaces. So let me try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then let's say I print yes. So basically, if you are going to use any conditional statement or any function, which we are going to learn later on, you you add, so basically whatever line which is ending with colon, if you want, if you want the something to be part of the that block, you have to follow the same indentation. So let's say print yes, print 4, okay. See, so basically this is the same indentation. Okay, so this is it for this video. If you found this video helpful or you have some tip for me, so please do leave them at comments. And again, if you found it helpful, then please hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I will see you in my next video. Until next time, goodbye.